back into your Zoom now, and then
Like this?
yeah, and so now that is what is showing up.
Oh, thank you, Allison Bradley. All right, well, welcome everybody. This is our first Thursday Tell Our KW Story live interview. So, all right, well, anyway, so for everybody that is watching, welcome to my Thursday Tell Our KW Story live interview. For those of you that may be watching that don't know me personally, my name is Kim Rogne, and I am the team leader of Keller Williams, Milwaukee Southwest in New Berlin, Wisconsin. We have about 160 agents, along with our leadership team of 7. So I've been in the real estate industry for 22 years, and I'm blessed to be in a leadership role that affords me the opportunity to coach top agents on their business, just like Tina Reddick, who is joining me here today. So yay, welcome Tina.
Thank you.
So let's just start with, why don't you share a little bit about yourself, I guess, why you got into real estate, and maybe what your back history before this was. What did you do before getting into real estate?
So my backstory is I actually went to school to be a police officer, and I was the police officer for about a year for the city here in Milwaukee, and decided that that wasn't necessarily the career for me, and it was better just to marry a police officer. So that's what I ended up doing. So for many years, I worked in the mortgage industry, and then I actually sold Yellow Page advertising, which most people don't have any memory of what that is.
No. For the youngins watching, they have no clue.
No clue, right? But it was a really great. It was a sales job. It was a big book, and we many fun years doing that. So I stayed at home then with our kids for 8 years, and ended up building a house. And during the build process, decided that I really wanted to explore real estate. And that was how I started 7 years ago. It was supposed to be just a part-time job, fun, money, extra vacation funds, and it really turned into a passion and a legacy that I will build for my family.
Wow. So tell me a little bit about, how you got started. I mean, have you always been with Keller Williams, or?
So nope, 7 years ago when I started, I didn't really know where to start, didn't really understand how brokerages work, and just went to the one that I knew at the time, which was Shore West. I was there for 3 years. I was the rookie of the year for them my first year, which was exciting. That was one of my goals that I had going into that, into real estate. And after 3 years, I decided that it really wasn't a great fit for me any longer. It had maybe served its purpose, and I needed to find something different. So I went to Realty Executives, and I was there for 3 years. Really wanted to see what it was to be at a brokerage where I really was on my own, and then decided that that necessarily wasn't what I needed. And I have been now at Keller Williams for a little over a year.
Okay. So I was pulling your stats before our interview here, and I noticed that your business is up over 30% over the past 2 years. And I guess, is there any tools or systems or anything that you put into place in your business since joining KW that has helped you with that growth?
So I think the biggest thing that has changed since I came to Keller Williams is before my 6 years before in real estate, I really wasn't running my business like a business. I didn't even really look at it necessarily like that. I just looked at it like my job is a real estate agent, not that my job is that I've opened a business and I need to run it accordingly. Mm-hmm. So those were the systems and tools coming over here that, were a lot of the deciding factors of the reasons why I came to Keller Williams too, is because I knew I recognized the need in my business that I needed to make some changes. And so over the year, I've really implemented a lot of the mindset of being a business owner, not being a real estate agent, but being a business owner. There's a big difference between the two. And the systems here from our command platform that allows us to help run our business like a business and contact our clients, and just all the trainings that go along with it that are offered.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we could have anybody watching this, right? We could have real estate agents, because I'm friends with a lot of real estate agents. We could have your buyers, your sellers, who knows? Maybe my kids, though, they say Facebook's not cool. They're on Snapchat. But anyway, let's just say we have some experienced agents that are out there watching us today or later on pull this up. And maybe they're with other companies, and that's perfectly fine, right? There's a lot of different brokerage models for everybody. We're all great companies, and we all need each other to get to the closing table. But what do you think are maybe some of the myths that are out there about KW that other agents have heard?
So, I mean, I heard them. So when I was leaving Shore West, I was considering coming to Keller Williams, but I had been hearing all the myths from all the other agents and brokerages that this was a pyramid scheme, right? That it's all about recruiting, that it's not about real estate at Keller Williams. It's only about recruiting and building your profit share, and that all the leadership just, is constantly kind of on you about recruiting. I also just heard just a general overall that it was too good to be true, that once you got there, you were going to find out that a lot of it was just smoke and mirrors. And so those were really the two things that really had kept me from coming the first time, because, moving brokerages is a huge, it can be a big task for an experienced agent. So, but coming here, I found that it's not like that at all. I mean, there's the opportunity to build your profit tree if you choose to take that opportunity, but it's not a main focus that you guys put on us. And the training calendar is really what it is, and the training is there for the agents if you want to plug into it. So all of those myths have really, they were all untrue.
Which I'll expand on a little bit, but tell me a little bit about training. I guess what have been some of your favorite, trainings that you have participated in?
So, I mean, there's so many. So the one that so for instance, like our career visioning training on how to hire somebody, whether it be an admin or a buyer's agent on your team. Mm-hmm. And how to correctly take somebody through that process and find out through that process whether, if they want to work, if they're a good fit for the team for both of us, because you can find out during that process that maybe they don't, they won't be a good fit. So that's been one of my favorite. I think obviously Scott's 36 Touch campaign is a big one. And so that's huge. That's something we've implemented in our business, and it's just great. And I just think all the different, monthly, like this month we have our listing series, which is really important, and learning from other agents in our brokerage. What are they doing to get the listing? How are they negotiating? How are they handling objections? So I think the fact that it's always constantly changing and shifting with what the market is doing is what I really enjoy.
Yeah, and so with that, obviously over the last 12 weeks, we've entered the coronavirus 19, COVID, whatever you want to call it, stay at home. What are some things that we have done here differently that have really helped you stay engaged in your business?
The one thing that I kind of chuckle about is that it was like there wasn't any downtime with us. It was like, okay, we can't come into the office Monday morning, we're all on Zoom. Where like even some school districts didn't even move that quickly. They needed a week to kind of get everything together. Our daily morning huddle calls and that whole, that was a whole new time that we had all been into, having to make care calls to our clients regarding something so, that such a big, the pandemic, that's something none of us had ever experienced before. And the fact that Keller Williams provided the script, and we did a ton of script practice, and now that's involved into something that we do every morning. And I think the fact that we also focused on our mindset, because that was, difficult during those times at home, to stay motivated, to have a good mindset. And the fact that we've moved a lot of our, we moved all of our trainings to virtual, so that it wasn't like we ever really lost connection. And we were all still really doing business during that time. I don't know if there's many agents whose businesses really suffered. I mean, obviously there was a pause, but I think we were all still reaching out and making connections, whether the business was happening then or happening now, because we kept in touch with our clients during that time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So before we dig into your business, because I'd like to learn a little bit about that, I mean, what type of agent do what is the characteristics, or what type of agent would really grow and thrive in our environment?
Well, I definitely think it's somebody who is a learner, who wants to grow, who wants to shift as the market shifts, who wants to learn new ideas. Somebody who really wants to run their business like a business, who's interested in really business ownership, because that's what this is. I also think somebody who, wants to learn more about technology. We cannot deny the fact that real estate is moving every day closer and closer, towards the technology platform. I mean, we know but how much it is now, and it's going to continue to grow. And I love the fact that Keller Williams is on the cutting edge of that and doing everything they can to keep the agent in the transaction. So, somebody who that is an interest and a passion of them would definitely make a great fit, at Keller Williams.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. We don't slow down, right?
No, there's no slowing down.
Yeah, I mean, this is just such a fast, I feel like every industry is fast paced. Mm-hmm. Everybody has been forced to get on the tech. I mean, look at this. We're on a Zoom on Facebook Live.
Right.
We didn't do that before COVID,
Well, so. I also like the fact that we just don't rely on our name as to get us business, right? We don't just rely on the fact that we're Keller Williams. We rely on the value that we are providing to our clients, and that is constantly going to have to change and pivot and shift.
Right. Yeah, like you even mentioned the care calls, I would have to say, me personally anyway, that's one of my favorite things that we put into place. Every day, Monday through Friday from 9 to 10:30, getting on that Zoom together and supporting each other when we were all at home or wherever we were, and really truly reaching out to our clients, because it was about them. It wasn't about selling homes at that time. It was about, hey, how are you? Like, what can I do for you? And there were many stories of need. If somebody lost a job, could we help connect them? Do you need something? And so that was probably one of my favorite things that we did and will continue to do, because really, ultimately, we're in a service business. That's what we do.
Right.
We take care of people during a time of, it may be joy, right? Like maybe they're moving up because they're having a baby. They just got married, but it also could be a time of sorrow. Maybe they lost a loved one and they have to sell a home. Like when people move or sell a home or buy a home, it's not always joyful, and we have to be there for them in any time of their life. So,
right. Yes, agree.
So, okay, let's shift a little. I want to dig into that. So I guess let's talk about you and your business. When we did business planning at the beginning of 2020, so when you put together a business plan, because you're a business owner, you don't just sell homes. When you put together your one-page business plan, how many homes or how many families were you looking to help this year in 2020?
So let's just dive a little bit into that. So I can tell you, in 7 years, that was the second time I had done a business plan. Okay. The first time I had just done a business plan was my very first day at Shore West, right? It was just, how much do you want to make? Well, that's such a loaded question, right? So I'm like, everybody does the same thing I found out now. Everybody wants to make $100,000, right?
Everybody, six figures tomorrow.
Right. It just like
HGTV, baby.
Right. It's a great number. Who doesn't want to do that, right? So that was my first business plan. Not really a plan. It was just like I wrote down, I didn't know how to get there. I was going to hand out some business cards. I was going to make some calls, and I was going to hold some open houses. I can tell you that didn't happen, right? I mean, I did those things.
I mean, yeah, you were
Right.
Rookie of the Year, so you had to
I
do
was-
something.
I was rookie of the year, but I was nowhere near making $100,000. So this year when I did my business plan, and I actually knew and was tracking over the last year, where were my leads coming from? What was I doing in my business to get leads? I was able to make a better plan surrounding that. So this year, our goal, our business plan is to help 50 families either buy or sell homes.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so tell me a little bit about where you're at. How many families have you helped so far this year?
So we have helped 22 families so far. So yeah, so I think that's great, right? Being in COVID, having that shift, and we were still able to really pace and be on track with it.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Okay, so I mean, just in case, one of your buyers or sellers is on here, they're your fan, right? And they're watching. What is your biggest need right now in your business?
Excuse me. Well, I mean, we still have a shortage of inventory in the market. It's big. We've been, we've had it for the last several years.
Yeah.
And it's even, I think we're all feeling it now more than ever. And I think the myth is, right, real estate agents are making tons of money right now, and you guys are so busy. But then when I explain, we just had an agent in our office who had 28 offers on one property, right? So that means 27 other families are moving to the same like property and trying to bid on that. So obviously shortage of inventory is a big thing. I've got buyers right now who are desperately searching for properties in the Muskego and New Berlin area, along with Brookfield. So if any of my clients or friends or family are thinking about selling, now's a great time. Obviously contact me. I would love to help you.
Yeah, it's definitely high emotions right now, and that is not fun. It's a great time to be a buyer because interest rates are like incredibly low. They really are.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also emotional, and you have to be prepared that it may take a couple of times before you get a home because we just don't have enough homes to sell them.
We don't.
It's the worst I've ever experienced, ever.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and it's just, it really is, it's a tough market, but it's doable. And, the other thing that I love about KW is the fact that you guys have given us skills on how to write really strong competitive offers.
Yeah.
I feel, it's kind of one of those things when we put the offer together and I've gone over all the different options or different strategies that you guys have given us, that I basically tell our buyer, like, if we don't get this, there's really nothing more you could have done. I mean, this is really the best. We always feel like we've put an offer on the table and putting our best foot forward just because we know some insider tips, I think, or strategies that you guys have helped us develop.
Yeah. Well, and on the flip side too, working with your seller. So you get 28 offers, right? That is a lot of data to absorb and figure out, and hey, how do I know I'm picking the right one? Like now more than ever, if you are looking to buy or sell, working with a professional is more important than any other time.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. You really need to be working with somebody to help you manage all of the information that's coming in such a fast pace too. It's not just, the days of, on Mondays scheduling showings for Saturday, those days don't exist anymore, right? And so sellers are getting, inundated with showings and trying to manage all of that. And then same thing on the buying side. So working with a professional is more important than ever for sure.
Are there some super fans at your window? Like I can see the reflection behind you.
Oh, yeah, they're out there. Yeah.
All right, just a couple more here. So I know that the name of your real estate team is 1120. What does that mean?
So so when I got into real estate back in 2013, my dad was my biggest fan. It was really going to be such a big change for what I had done. And, I remember the days of studying and going through my books and opening the first chapter and going, buyer agency. I don't none of it even made sense. And he was just somebody that I really talked to a lot through that process, and he was my biggest supporter. And unfortunately, he unexpectedly passed away like my first year in real estate. So he never saw me become Rookie of the Year, watched my career develop. And so when I developed my team 3 years ago, I really wanted it to be something that meant a lot to me. I just really needed to something that really meant a lot. And so 11/20 actually stands for his birthday, which is November 20th. And what I love the most about it is, every day I work really, really hard, and I always have him in my heart, but it gives me an opportunity to talk about him as well, because people will ask me, because it is so unusual.
Yeah.
So it gives me an opportunity to talk about him and what an amazing person he was and what an awesome dad he was. So that's what it means.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. That is like that. I mean, you must talk about him all the time, like you're saying.
I do. And it's great because we have a logo, and, it's just a constant reminder of him. And I just know he would love it. I really know that he would really love it.
So, we know what you do. You sell homes, and I guess tell us a little bit more as to why. Like, why is this important to you business-wise and personally? What does this all mean to you?
So, it's funny because when I got into real estate, I didn't really even know what it meant. I didn't really have, like I said, I had gotten into real estate as, to have some extra vacation money, but my kids were younger at the time, and they watched me grow my business from a seedling into, a nice business now. And so they've watched how that's happened, and we've talked about it as a family, and they've seen the bumps and bruises and the success. And so it really is a legacy that I'm going to leave for my family. I mean, I have 3 children. They all have expressed interest in one way or another getting into the business. They're getting older. They'll probably start working summer jobs here. I have nieces and nephews too, who have also expressed interest. I have one nephew who's going to get his real estate license at Keller Williams in Illinois as a result of this, of, watching this from the time he was a teenager. So, it's afforded us some really great things in the past 7 years. And the most important thing, I think I had always said as a parent, I would never miss a sporting event, a dance competition, anything like that. So I was always able to do that, which I think is really important because I have those memories for a lifetime.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Is there anything that I didn't ask that you would like to share with the crowd? Because I know we got super fans watching.
Right. I mean, I just think that, whether, like you said, there's great brokerages in the market. There definitely are. I think it's something that had I had known more about real estate when I started, I would have done a lot more research as opposed to just picking a sign and deciding to go there. I'll be honest, I didn't do any research. I would have done more research. I would have learned more about the companies and what they offer. Because it's one of those things like, you don't realize it then about, how it impacts your business, but at some time during your career, you will understand the impact that it has. And whether that be negative or positive.
Well, and the good part is really, honestly, it's about finding the brokerage business model that fits you.
Yeah.
So we're not looking to hire everybody. We always say our core values as leadership is to come from the mindset of abundance. We talked a little bit about that, where we share everything, we collaborate. I remember when I first got into this industry, and a lot of agents wouldn't share. It was like, no, I'm in competition with you. And so we are not of that mindset. That's what abundance means. It's not scarcity, it's abundance. You mentioned business ownership. Our goal is not just to teach you how to sell a home. It's how do you create a business so you could later on sell it, so you have a legacy for your family. So, how do you create, a profit and loss statement, right? A P&L, right? And really, how do you, run a business where 30% is cost of sale, 30% is expenses, and 40% is profit? And, having a LLC and all that. So I love that you said that. And then our culture, our culture of thriving together, growing together, right? And then you also mentioned innovation. We are innovative. I mean, we push the envelope. KW doesn't just have a CRM. We have a platform like a Netflix where it has apps. And the whole point is to help you build your business. It's all about the agent. That is also where we're very unique. So a lot of times people are like, Keller, who, right? We're really humble. We don't have big, huge billboards. And that's kind of why I wanted to do this whole, let's tell our story, right? Because we don't share our story enough. Largest real estate company. I mean, we only started here in the Milwaukee area 5-6 years ago, and we have over 500 agents now. I mean, that's insane.
Right.
It's insane.
It is insane. And we have so much to offer our agents. I think, one of the things that was kind of like the biggest draws for me was our training calendar and just what that looks like monthly. Other places I've been, they have, okay, in June, we're gonna have this training, and, January, we're gonna have this training. Here, it's like every month there's trainings, I would almost say virtually every day, that's something that you can plug into.
Yeah.
Something where you can connect with other agents, because I think that's really important is the culture and connecting, because there's something that we can learn from each other. Just listening to other people talk to their agents, bouncing off ideas about, with them. So that's an opportunity. And that was one of the things that I love so much about COVID, which sounds so weird to say that I loved it, was all the agents on the Zoom calls and how we made those connections even deeper because we were all going through it together. So, and the fact that, the training is free.
Well, that, and the interesting part is everything that we train is proven systems. And it's not just us. So like when you talk about your 1-page business plan, which is a 135, or 411, or career visioning. So like, it's not just us, it's 160,000 other agents around the country. So like, if we don't have a tool for you or a system or whatever, you could reach out to somebody in Illinois or in Texas or in Florida and say, hey, I'm looking at hiring a buyer's agent. Do you have an agreement, or whatever. It's just, everything is systematic and we all speak the same language. And there's something to be said when you're all speaking the same language, because you can truly help each other versus a lot of agents when they get into the business. It's, yes, they want to be creative and, that's why they get into it because they're entrepreneurial, but it's amazing when you have the power in the numbers. So
it is. And I think the other part that's great too is a lot of it is like obviously we're focused on business, but we also focus on personal too, and having not necessarily a balance, because we know that doesn't exist, but a counterbalance. I mean, as realtors, in the real estate industry, we know that we can work 20 hours a day, and we know that. So coming here and putting systems into place and models into place has really given me back a lot of my time. I honestly, in the true story, when I first started here and I was starting to put everything into place, I was going home at like 5-6 o'clock, and then I didn't know what to do because I hadn't been home at 5-6 o'clock for so long that I was just like, what do people do when they come home from work? Like I had no idea. So there was definitely like a transition period for me. And now, obviously there's going to be late nights and showings and all these things that come into play, but the vast majority of the time I'm leaving the office, and going home and having time with my family, which I now will not ever give up because I've enjoyed it so much. Because, when you're away from it so long, you forget what it's like. But now that I know what it's like, I'm not willing to give it up.
Yeah. So, well, wow. I cannot thank you enough for your time. And I shouldn't forget, because earlier when we started this, you had mentioned the myth about pyramid scheme, profit share. And I said, I'll revisit that. So anybody who's watching, certainly contact us. We'd be happy to share more. I will, once this uploads to Facebook, I'll put our contact information in the comments and maybe a couple other cool things to help you out. But where we're very different than most brokerages is when we close our books every month, 52% of the profits go to the investors, the owners, 48% go back to our agents to thank them for helping build our company. And so it's just a gift of thanks to bring on like-minded people and to influence people to join. So think of it this way, like I get my clothes through Stitch Fix. And oh, by the way, Tina, if you want my link, the cool part is if you sign up through my link, I'm going to get a $50 credit. Maybe it's only 25. It doesn't really matter. But
Right.
it's kind of like that type of concept. But in the end, I don't go and recruit to Stitch Fix. That's not my number one focus. If somebody mentions it to me, right?
Yep.
And I feel like, oh my gosh, they could totally take advantage of this. Well, why would I not share my link? Hello, right? My husband would be happy, right? Save
Totally.
a little money. It's kind of the same with Keller Williams. We don't require agents to recruit. We want agents who want to run their real estate business like a business. They do a great job. They have high integrity. And then if somebody comes to them or if they work with somebody who does an amazing job and they're looking to take their business to the next level, they just bring them on board. And that's it. But their number one job, go be a great real estate agent.
Right. Right.
Go
That's
do
it.
that. Let's
For sure.
lift our standards in this business, be a great agent, and we have all the tools here for you. So that was just a little clarification from earlier if you caught that. So,
Mhm.
All right, that's all I have for today.
Awesome. Thank you for the time.
Okay,
All right.
see ya.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.